Hello, welcome to Transgender Allyship, how you can be a better ally by an actual transgender person. My name is Dylan Thompson. My pronouns are he or they. I am transmasculine non-binary, meaning that while my transgender identity does not fall within the binary of male and female, I do lean a little more to male than in the middle. Please remember as we continue that being an ally is not about you. It is about helping the marginalized population. We need allies who are willing to help us be heard and make changes, not those who are just doing it for show. Second, when something is brought to your attention, it's really easy to become defensive, but we ask that you please listen, and that way we can help you you understand, as well as we're looking for people who are going to elevate our voices. This is an important piece of being an ally or accomplice to any group, whether it is Black people who need Black lives, are asking us to elevate their voices for Black Lives Matter, transgender people who are lifting their voices against the various bans. It's just really super important. The third thing is check your privilege. If you're cisgender, you have cisgender privilege, regardless of color. And only through actions and elevating marginalized voices can you become a good ally, because you can't say, oh, I'm an ally, and then mess up all consistently. You have to be an ally. You're an ally when we say that you're a good ally. Some basic things to understand: there is no one way to be an ally. Is number one. Every person has something that is their strong suit, and not all trans people have the same needs. Listen to us, and we can give you a good idea of what you can do to help us. Second, you do not need to understand our identity to respect us. This is why a lot of people default to the three main identities: male, female, and non-binary, rather than going into all of our personal nuances. Third, you can't always tell who is transgender. Some of us stay in the closet because of fear of external influences, seeing others disrespected, or harmed, while others may pass and just want to get on with their life. Third, there's no single way to be transgender. Some people choose only to transition socially, while others choose to transition medically to some degree or another, and still others may do nothing and keep it here. Third, always be willing to learn. Some of us, like myself, usually are willing to talk about our transition and our experiences and how to be a better help. Well, and others aren't. There are so many resources available for if you're discussing things with someone who's not really ready to discuss or have the energy to discuss with you. It is not our responsibility to educate you. It is your own responsibility to educate yourself. Some quick definitions: transgender, which is an umbrella term for those who are not the gender assigned at birth. Cis or cisgender, those who are the gender assigned at birth. Assigned female at birth, assigned male at birth are just how we're designated when we're born. based on genitalia, which is a really ridiculous way to designate somebody's role in life, right? Third is non-binary. That means they're not within the binary of male and female. That could mean we have no gender at all, or we could have be a mix of both of them to some degree or another. And lastly, dead name, which is the name given at birth, or in some cases, which are not as common as the others, their married name before they came out. There's a gender spectrum, which is less of a spectrum and more of a where you fall on a graph. This is a pretty good graph, and I personally fall in B4, so kind of in that nice shade of light green. Some things that you should never ask us: what's in our pants? My answer will always be mischief, chaos, or whatever's in my pockets. If we've had the surgery, because like I said before, some of us choose to have surgeries, others of us choose not to. About our sex lives or how we engage in special time. Basically, do not ask a transgender person anything you wouldn't ask your cisgender colleague. Don't give us backhanded compliments or helpful hints. It's harmful and it can be insulting. Some examples of these backhanded compliments or helpful hints are, "You're so pretty. I would have never guessed you're transgender. You look just like a real woman." A note to that, a trans woman is a real woman. A trans man is a real man. Non-binary people are real non-binary people. "He's so hot. I date him even though he's transgender." "You're so brave." We don't want to be brave. We want to be accepted into society just like everyone else does. You'd pass so much better if you had surgery, you shaved more often, you learned to do your makeup differently. And another one is, have you considered a voice coach? Please remember that dead names stay dead. Never ask what our old name was, and if you know it, don't use it. Pronouns and names are not preferred. They are our names and pronouns. Using something else would be like calling Dr. Phil Mrs. whatever his last name is. When you mess up, quickly correct yourself and move on. "Hello, ma'am. Sorry, sir. How are you today?" All it requires is a quick apology, continuation, and move on. If you make a big deal out of it, you're making it about you and forcing the person you just misgendered to say something like, "It's no problem," or "It's okay," when really it is, and it can cause a lot of harm. If it's when that person is around or isn't around, still use our names and pronouns. If you forget, correct yourself and say 3 nice things about the person using their name and pronouns. Example, I'm using myself kind of as an example. Dylan is working on this for us. He is working diligently. Dylan has kindly donated their time to provide this training for us. We should do something nice for him. It's as simple as that. I want to give you a content warning now because the next page discusses suicide, assault, and abuse. The main reason why it's very important that our allies not be silent is that suicide is the second highest cause of death of people 10 years old to 24 years old, and it's disproportionate among transgender youth. According to this study published by the American Academy of Pediatrics, percent of surveyed youth that attempted suicide of the assigned female at birth male, meaning boys and men, over 50% have attempted suicide. Those who are assigned male at birth and are girls and women, 29.9%. And of their non-binary people, 41.8% had attempted suicide. One of the major things that people need to think about is we are at higher risk for sexual assault as a means of correcting behaviors. And that often leads to it, especially like the AFAT, those who are boys or men who were assigned female at birth. And it's really disgusting and very disheartening. And it's also why it is so important to show support to the transgender population. And these are the sources for some of the information that is there. Thank you for joining me for this brief training on how you can be a better ally for transgender people, written and taught by an actual transgender person. Thank you and have a wonderful day.